All right, everyone. Are you ready for a deep dive?
I'm ready. What are we diving into today?
Today, we're uncovering the man behind the piano, Billy Joel.
The Piano Man. I'm in.
You might know the hits, but trust me, his life story is full of surprises.
Oh, I bet. Spill the tea. What kind of surprises are we talking about?
Think boxing rings, near tragedies, even a bit of political activism.
Wow, that's not your typical musician's tale.
Definitely not your typical greatest hit story.
So how are we uncovering all of this? What juicy sources do we have?
We've got it all. Biographical excerpts, a deep dive on Piano Man, even some fun trivia.
Sounds like we're about to become Billy Joel experts.
By the end of this, you'll be able to impress your friends with your Billy Joel knowledge. Guaranteed.
I'm ready to be impressed. So set the scene for me. Who was Billy Joel before the fame?
Picture this. Long Island, years before the sold-out stadiums.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
A teenage Billy Joel is channeling his energy not just into music, but into the boxing ring.
Wait, really? Billy Joel the boxer?
He was actually Hicksville's welterweight boxing champ.
No way. That's a side of him you don't usually hear about. Do you think that energy in the ring translated to his music at all?
That's an interesting connection. And you know what? You can actually see echoes of that fighter spirit throughout his career.
Oh, how so?
Well, that same tenacity he displayed in the ring, it fueled his relentless touring schedule,
Right.
his battles with the music industry, even his approach to songwriting.
So it's like those early days really instilled a drive in him to overcome obstacles.
Exactly. And he faced some tough ones, especially in his early 20s.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're going to say. At 21, after some serious setbacks, his band broke up. His girlfriend left, things took a dark turn for him.
Right. Joel actually attempted suicide around that time.
That's incredibly heavy.
It was a pivotal moment in his life.
I can only imagine. Did that experience have any influence on his music?
It definitely left an indelible mark on him.
Musically?
Absolutely. It forced him to confront his vulnerabilities, his mortality, and while he doesn't explicitly address it in his lyrics,
Right.
you can sense that newfound awareness,
Yeah.
that understanding of life's fragility and the emotional depth of his later work.
It's like he emerged from that experience with a new perspective, a deeper well of empathy to draw from.
Exactly. A heightened sensitivity to the struggles of others, and that's definitely reflected in his music.
Yeah, the characters he brings to life, the stories he tells, they resonate because they feel so real.
Okay, so we've got this young Billy Joel. He's been through the ringer. He's got this fighter's spirit. How does he go from the boxing ring to the music scene?
It was a roller coaster, that's for sure.
I bet. What was the first stop on this roller coaster ride?
Well, he starts out in a heavy metal band.
Wait, hold on. Billy Joel, heavy metal.
You heard that right. And get this. Their mission statement was to destroy the world through amplification.
Okay, I have to admit, the image of Billy Joel in a heavy metal band is not one I ever pictured.
It's pretty classic teenage rebellion when you think about it.
That's true. So from heavy metal to, well, Piano Man, that's quite a jump.
Talk about a journey.
Speaking of Piano Man, can you take us back to the song's origins?
Picture this. Smoky bar in Los Angeles called the Executive Room.
Okay.
A young, broke Billy Joel, going by the alias Bill Martin, is playing piano, trying to make ends meet.
Humble beginnings for sure. Did he know at that moment that this song, this Piano Man written in a dive bar, would become an anthem?
Ironically, he's actually said he was surprised by its success.
Really? Why is that?
Because for all its catchiness, Piano Man is kind of a sad song when you really listen to it.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, it paints a rather melancholic picture of escapism and unfulfilled dreams, wouldn't you say?
Now that you mention it, yeah, maybe a little bit.
Each verse, it's like he's introducing us to a cast of characters seeking solace at the bottom of a glass, you know?
Lost souls looking for connection.
Exactly. Yearning for something more. It's not exactly a celebration of life, yet it connected with people in a profound way.
It's like it captured a universal feeling.
Right. That longing for connection, for something beyond the everyday.
It's incredible how a song born in a smoky bar could resonate with so many people.
And what's even more fascinating is how the music itself reflects Joel's influences at the time. It's like a melting pot of genres.
Oh, tell me more about that.
You can hear echoes of Hoagy Carmichael's romanticism,
Wow, okay.
the Beatles' melodic sensibility, even a touch of Bob Dylan in the harmonica.
Speaking of Bob Dylan, didn't Joel once say he was a big influence on his harmonica playing?
He did. Joel has said he was blown away by Dylan's use of the harmonica, how it could be both melancholic and exhilarating.
And you can definitely hear that Dylan influence in Piano Man.
Oh, absolutely. That raw, expressive style. It's not just a musical embellishment, it's a character in the song. And it's that eclectic blend of influences, that willingness to experiment, that became a hallmark of his sound.
You mean he's not afraid to just stick with one genre?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Joel never wanted to be boxed in. He wasn't afraid to rock out, to get soulful, to tell a story with his music.
Makes sense. He's Piano Man, but he's not afraid to explore other sounds. That's a great way to describe him.
Absolutely. And this wasn't just a musical approach. It bled into his personal life as well. Joel wasn't afraid to stand up for what he believed in.
Okay, let's talk about that. We've got the music, but he was also a pretty passionate activist, right?
Absolutely. Take, for instance, his fight against the proposed ban on halcyoning on Long Island in the mid-90s.
Wait, hold on. For those of us who aren't up on our fishing techniques, what exactly is halcyoning?
It's a traditional fishing method using a large net that's hauled in from the shore. Now, it's a controversial practice, with some arguing it's detrimental to fish populations. But for generations of Long Islanders, it was a way of life, a source of income and tradition.
And this was personal for Joel, wasn't it?
It was deeply personal. He saw the ban as an attack on his community, on the working-class families whose livelihoods depended on the fishing industry. And he didn't just lend his name to the cause, he was on the front lines, protesting alongside the fishermen, even risking arrest.
Wow, he put himself out there. I never knew that about him. It's really inspiring to see someone with his platform use it to fight for something they believe in, especially for those who don't have that same kind of voice.
Absolutely. And I think you can see that same empathy, that same commitment to speaking up for the underdog, woven into the fabric of his music. He doesn't shy away from difficult topics, from the struggles of everyday people.
It's like those experiences, both the personal and the political, became part of his musical DNA.
Exactly. It all feeds into that authenticity that resonates with people, that feeling that he's singing directly to you about your life, your hopes, your heartbreaks.
And speaking of heartbreak, we can't talk about Billy Joel without delving at least a little into his, shall we say, colorful personal life. 4 marriages, right?
Yes, 4 marriages, and each one, in its own way, reflects different facets of Joel's personality. There was his marriage to Elizabeth Weber, his business manager, who inspired the song She's Always a Woman.
That's a beautiful song. But then, of course, there's the marriage everyone knows about, supermodel Christy Brinkley. That must have been quite a whirlwind.
It was a high-profile romance, for sure. They met in 1983 at a hotel bar in the Caribbean, a setting that wouldn't be out of place in one of his songs. Their daughter, Alexa Ray Joel, has gone on to have a successful music career of her own.
It's like life imitating art. But even with all the fame and fortune, he still faced his share of challenges. Remember that story about him selling his New York City townhouse to Sting?
And let's not forget the Hamptons estate he sold to Jerry Seinfeld. Apparently, he forgot to mention that it overlooked a nude beach.
Okay, you can't make this stuff up. It just goes to show that even rock stars have real-life problems, real estate blunders, and maybe a touch of forgetfulness when it comes to their neighbors.
Exactly. But those anecdotes, those moments of humor and self-deprecation, they humanize him. They remind us that behind the larger-than-life persona, he's still, at his core, that kid from Long Island who sat down at a piano and poured his heart into his music.
And that brings us back to the music, doesn't it? Because despite the ups and downs, the heartbreaks, the controversies, it's his music that has endured. Think about it. Piano Man isn't just a song. It's become synonymous with his name, a cultural touchstone.
It's his legacy. And it's a testament to the song's enduring power, its ability to connect with people across generations and cultures.
It's played at graduations, at sporting events and bars around the world. Everyone, everywhere seems to know the words.
And it's not just Piano Man. From Uptown Girl to We Didn't Start the Fire, his songs have become part of the soundtrack of our lives. And then there's that other iconic element of his career, Madison Square Garden.
Oh, right. He's practically a permanent resident there. Over 100 shows and counting, right?
He is. He holds the record for the most performances by a single artist at Madison Square Garden. Think about all the legends who've played that stage. Elvis, Sinatra, the Beatles. And yet, it's Billy Joel who reigns supreme.
That's mind-blowing. What do you think it is about his music that makes it such a perfect fit for that venue, for that kind of enduring appeal?
It's the energy, the passion, the way he connects with the audience. A Billy Joel concert isn't just a performance, it's an experience. He pours his heart and soul into every note, and the audience feels it.
It's that authenticity we keep coming back to. You can tell he's not just going through the motions. He's truly present in the music, in the moment.
Absolutely. And there's another layer to this that I find fascinating. He hasn't released a new album of original pop material since 1993.
You're right. That's incredible. He's achieved this legendary status, this lasting impact, without chasing trends, without feeling the need to reinvent himself for every generation.
And I think that's part of what makes him so refreshing. He's not trying to be anyone but himself. He writes and performs music because it's who he is, not because he feels pressured to stay relevant.
And yet he remains relevant, doesn't he? His music still resonates with people, young and old.
It does. And I think it's because that authenticity, that raw honesty, that refusal to compromise, it shines through. He's not afraid to be vulnerable, to show his flaws, to wear his heart on his sleeve.
He's got that Long Island straight talk attitude too, doesn't he?
He does. He's known for speaking his mind, for calling out critics, for not suffering fools gladly. And while that might rub some people the wrong way, I think it's also part of his charm.
It's refreshing, actually. In an industry that often feels manufactured, overly polished, he's a reminder that sometimes the most powerful thing you can be is yourself.
Exactly. And I think that's a powerful message, especially for young artists trying to find their voice in a crowded landscape.
So we've got this incredibly talented musician, this outspoken activist, this complex individual who's lived a life full of highs and lows, triumphs and tragedies. How do we begin to sum up the impact of Billy Joel?
It's difficult to quantify, isn't it? His music has touched so many lives. It's provided comfort, inspiration, a soundtrack for countless memories. He's a storyteller, a poet, a chronicler of the human experience.
He's a survivor, too. We've talked about the suicide attempt, the business battles, the car accidents. He's faced down some serious demons and come out the other side.
And I think that resilience, that fighting spirit, it infuses his music with a depth and a resonance that you don't often find. He's not just singing about heartbreak, he's lived it. He's not just celebrating life, he's stared down death and chosen to embrace every moment.
That's a powerful realization, knowing that about him, about his journey. It adds a whole new layer to his music, doesn't it?
It does. It makes you listen a little closer, feel a little deeper.
You know what's amazing to me?
What's that?
We often put these music legends on pedestals.
Yeah, we do.
But when you really dig into their stories, you realize they're just as human as the rest of us.
That's true.
Flaws, heartbreaks, and all.
Absolutely. And in Billy Joel's case,
Right.
I think that's a huge part of his enduring appeal. He's never tried to project a persona. He's just Billy.
He's the guy you could picture grabbing a beer with.
I can see that.
Though knowing him,
Yeah, no.
he'd probably challenge you to a game of pool and win.
Then write a song about it.
Exactly. But for all his success, the Grammys, the sold-out shows, I wonder if there's still a bit of that struggling piano man inside him.
That's an intriguing thought. Even at the top,
Right.
there's always that next challenge, that next creative itch to scratch. And knowing Billy Joel,
Yeah.
he's not one to rest on his laurels.
Maybe that heavy metal reunion tour is still on the table. To destroy the world through amplification.
Now that's a concert I'd love to see.
Me too. But in all seriousness,
Yeah.
it's clear that Billy Joel's story is so much more than just hit songs.
Absolutely.
It's a testament to resilience, to authenticity, to the power of music to connect us across generations and cultures.
That's true.
And it's a story that continues to evolve.
Yeah.
He may not be releasing new albums, but he's still performing, inspiring, and surprising audiences.
Absolutely. He's not slowing down at all.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
here's something to think about.
Okay, I'm listening.
Knowing his story now, the struggles, the activism, the complexities.
Yeah, I'm trying to see it all from a new perspective now.
Does it change how you hear his music?
I think it does. It adds another layer, another dimension.
Does it deepen your appreciation for the man behind the piano?
I definitely think so. It's like seeing the music through a new lens.
You know what?
What's that?
Because sometimes it's in understanding the journey, the detours, the imperfections, that we truly appreciate the beauty of the destination.
Well said.
We'll leave you to explore the music of Billy Joel with a fresh perspective.
That's what we like to hear.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
Remember, there's always more to uncover beneath the surface.